I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Presentations. First thing is a public hearing for the town warrant. Somebody like to make a motion to open up the public hearing.
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Sorry.
Don't choke on it too bad.
Well.
All those in favor? All right. Go through it.
So how would you like me to go through? Do you want me to do our usual where I read every single one and go through it? Or just give you the highlights? You guys gotta let me know how you would like to proceed.
With the board.
It's posted on our website, right?
It's posted on the website. It's posted in 6 places throughout town. I mean, I can give you a general overview. Like the candidates running, I can tell you what the impact of the budget is. I can give you the highlights if you would like, similar to what I did for the voter guide. So this year, our town meeting will be Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. And polls will open at 8 a.m. and they will close at 8 p.m. We have 3 people running for 2 seats for SAD 40 Board of Directors. That would be Stephen Clark, Tabitha MacArthur, Benjamin Stickney. For the Utility District Board of Trustees, we have 2 open seats. We have Kevin Mark Barber and Gordon Webster. Budget Committee, we have 2 seats open. We have Michael Amico and Kelly Burton. And unfortunately, I skipped over Select Board. We have 2 seats open and 5 people running. That would be William Bragg, Brendan McGuirl, Sandra O'Farrell, Abden Simmons, and Rebecca Stevens. To start off with the budget portion of the town warrant, we are pleased. I think the select board, and I will speak for the select board and the budget committee, who worked extremely hard on this year's budget. It was in the 7 years that I've been here, I think it was the longest. We had the most meetings for this budget. There was a lot of good debate. And they were able to actually present this budget with a tax decrease of 1/3%. So the town portion of the budget you will not see an increase from the town's portion of the budget. A couple of highlights, and there were things, what you'll notice in the warrant when you get it. Every year we put what the select board recommends and what the budget committee recommends. This year, you're going to see a couple of new things. One is from the initial request, if there was an increase or a decrease by the budget committee and select board of the initial request, it is noted under the vote of the budget committee and the select board. And that was a request from members because I think there has been in the past, people haven't realized how much work the budget committee and the select board put into the budget. And people think it was just being rubber stamped. It wasn't. There's always been a lot of debate and changes, but this way it actually explains what those changes were. So I will just go over the articles that were changed. The assessing department had a decrease of $350 from the initial request by the select board, budget committee, and department head. Finance and customer service decreased by $17,929 from the initial request by the select board, budget committee, and department head. And that reflects the addition of an employee for 9 months out of the year in the finance department so that a person can be trained to replace an outgoing employee. The next one would be the police department. Select board and budget committee increased that line item by 89,713 from the initial request, and that was to maintain our current level of policing. The chief had originally removed a position to try to be very mindful of the budget. After much discussion with both the select board and the budget committee and the chief, that position was put back into the budget so that we remain at full complement. The next was public works articles. The select board budget committee at the request of the department head decreased that line item by $21,701. Social service articles. Under general assistance, there was a decrease of 3,266 from the initial budget by the select board and the budget committee. One of the new things that the budget committee and select board instituted this year was that all the social services and community services that request money from the town. So the food pantry, New Hope, the library, they used to be under two separate articles. They are now under an article each onto their own. So every social service agency and every community agency has their own line item that people can vote for instead of it being one lump sum together. Under those line items, the budget committee and select board decreased 638 from the initial request for Life Flight of Maine. And under community service articles, there was a decrease of $5,000 from the initial request of $20,000 by LCTV. And a decrease of $2,000 from the initial request of $10,000 by the select board and budget committee for the Waldo Theater. We have a couple of articles from the planning and development articles, and I think Max is here at some, he'll come back in. To explain some of those. The ordinances at least. And then when we go to capital reserve, as far as the budget goes, we increased the capital reserve 50,000 from the initial budget. And what that entails is 50,000 for the fire equipment reserve. And this is the beginning of saving for the potential purchase of a fire truck. That is still going to have a follow-up meeting with the budget committee and the select board to discuss that with the truck committee. And we also put $30,000 more in the surface paving program. We increased it 30,000 from an initial budget of 650,000. And that is because if we increased it by $30,000, it allowed us to buy more blacktop at a reduced price, and it essentially saved us $270,000 by the time we put the 30 in, and it gave us more purchasing power. There is an article 44 to increase the property tax levy limit by 478,600. And that is necessary so that we can, under LD1, we're not under LD1, we are over LD1. So that is what Article 44 allows for. And ordinance articles, For Article 45, and I will let Max speak to this. And Ruben, I believe, is on also. This is, shall the town vote to raise and appropriate from the use of fund balance and TIF funds the sum of $316,000 for the town's share of a match for broadband grant through Lincoln County. So Max, if you would like to explain that, and Ruben is up there too.
Yep, so I'll be quick about this. This was discussed, I think it was the last select board meeting with Evan Gutowski here. The approval would just be us putting up a match for a county-wide grant opportunity through the state's PEM grant. If the grant is successful, we would use the match through the TIF. And what was the second account? I'm sorry.
The capital fund balance.
And the capital
We-
fund? And the capital
Fund balance.
Fund balance. We would use the TIF first with the capital fund covering the gap. And that would provide high-speed internet to all residents in Waldeboro. If the grant is not successful, then it would be moot. No fund would be withdrawn.
This is just going to the voters to vote on.
Yep, correct.
So that's a question that the voters will have to answer. Is it worth spending $316,000 to get broadband and fiber throughout the community? Ruben, did you have anything to add to that since you have been working on this?
To the question, no. When this was talked about last week, there seemed to be a little bit of confusion and questions around the value of this. If this is an appropriate time, I'd be happy to answer any questions or concerns around this as a whole.
What was the initial value of that whole project, Ruben, for the Lincoln County?
Okay, so Lincoln County, the raw number, grants aside, it's about a $28 million project to get all the towns done, including Waldeboro. I don't know how that breaks out per town. I know Waldeboro is one of the more expensive areas.
So we're getting a bargain at 316,000.
We're not only getting a deal, but I did some basic math. If there's less than a 30% take rate on the least expensive CCI plan when this gets done, it will take 10.2 months for our residents to have saved what we're spending. And our take rate's going to be much higher than that.
Cool. Awesome. Anybody else get questions for Ruben?
Article 46 enacts changes to the existing land use ordinance. Again, I will turn that over to Max to go over.
So this is what I discussed earlier with the select board. Most of these changes are state items regarding LD 2003, which is to encourage more housing. We don't actually have too many changes that we're doing. We already allow accessory apartments. We already allow multifamily units, which we're just expanding to have the category for affordable housing projects, which would only really be focused in the village area anyways. And we already allow multiple dwelling units to be built on a single lot. So the changes are more just definition related. I also do have the changes to clean up some technical issues and the shipping container section, which has caused a bit of confusion in recent months. That's about it. So the one thing I do want to clear up is that there is going to be something in there for short-term rentals, just to have it on the book so that there is no question that they are permitted in town. And all that's needed is just a simple change of use to the select code enforcement officer. But existing short-term rentals don't have to go through the process or anything. And the only thing that's being looked at is just simple life safety and egress items. It's really it.
Is there some changes here too that people don't have to go to the planning board? They can come just to you and the planner and the seat code enforcement?
That's probably the change of use item that you're
Okay.
referring to. We enacted that quite some time ago. Yeah.
Because I knew that's a big thing.
And what is the standard for the shipping containers?
The standards for the shipping containers, what we have right now is it's more temporary. In fact, and we're supposed to have a shipping container permit, which I don't think we've ever actually had. This just changes it to say it is allowed in almost any area except residential areas. The residential, which is going to Friendship or Bremen, you can have it temporarily for maybe 6 months or so. Everywhere else in town, you can have it permanently as long as you get the appropriate building permit and it is visually screened so that your neighbors do not have to see it.
Article 47 is shall the voters of the town of Waldeboro adopt amendments to the municipal development and tax increment financing district and the development program for the district known as First Waldeboro Tax Increment Financing District Development Program. And again, that's Max.
Again, I've covered this in the past meeting. This is just putting the Sylvania and Hoff's house properties back into the TIF district so that they can use these funds to help with any local match items for grants when they are being redeveloped. And we are also including a third property in there, 3425 Atlantic Highway, just because there is potential for that to greatly expand in value. So it's aiming to expand what we can do for projects, as well as start preserving some more, or sheltering some more funds so we can keep more money here in the town of Waldeboro. The other projects are more administrative cost items, so that every time I am working on something, it doesn't come out of the town's general fund, it can come out of the TIF instead. And that's about it.
And any questions? We've already heard this all before, but I just want to make sure.
The one thing I will just quickly say on the TIF and the land use ordinance items is that for the TIF, I do have to have a separate public hearing. That's going to be on the 23rd of May. And the land use ordinance one, because we had that storm that happened on April 4th, I have to hold a separate one, and I'm going to have that scheduled with the planning board. I'm going to talk with the planning board on Thursday to find a time later in May to do it.
And there are several articles that come up under other warrant articles. They are the typical of fixing the 15th day of November and the 15th day of May when all taxes are due. We also follow the state's lead on setting interest, which will be at 8.5% per annum on any amount overpaid. That's also an interest rate of 8.5% per annum on all taxes unpaid. It authorizes the tax collector to set up a tax club plan. It authorizes the select board to dispose of any real estate acquired by the town for non-payment of taxes. It authorizes us to transfer all unexpended balances to fund balance and to authorize any overdrafts that may occur in town operations to be taken from fund balance. It authorizes the select board to accept gifts, real estate, and certain funds, including trust funds and grant programs that may be given or left to the town. Authorizing us to enter into boundary line agreements with abutting property owners to establish the boundary line of any property of the town. Gives you the authority to open and close roads to winter maintenance. Spend funds from various reserve funds. And a really important one, we are also reserving the right to alewives in the Madomic River for the year 2025. That's something we do every year. And then Article 59 authorizes the transfer of unexpended balances of the shellfish operating budget to be placed into the shellfish capital budget at fiscal year end. And that item is fully funded by clamming license fees. There is no public funds utilized. And finally, Article 60, shall the town vote to authorize the transfer of unallocated proceeds in the amount of $203,000 from the sale of the Friendship Street School to the Capital Reserve Surface Paving Program. So once the Friendship Street School was sold, there was a town vote, and a portion of those proceeds went to a couple of projects in town. $203,000 was still left in that capital reserve account. And what a vote yes for this does was allows us to transfer $203,000 into our capital paving resurface program. And that fully funds our paving to $1.5 million. That also gets us that reduced rate. This was an item that was discussed by the select board. And comment was taken by the budget committee. And part of the reason for utilizing this was to help keep the increase to 0% this year. So that there won't be a tax increase for the town portion of the budget for this year. So there was a lot of discussion about that, and the select board voted to recommend that to the taxpayers. I want to also mention that we will have the voter guide printed up. Our town clerk does a great job of putting together a voting guide, voter's guide for everyone. It will be available at the town office, and it will also be available on our website. Because our budget was so interesting this year, I thought if we talked about at the budget committee and the select board, putting together something for the voter guide. I put out something and asked for comments by May 2nd to the budget committee. So in lieu of comments that were made, because no one really made any comments, I put together this one page, well, actually technically it's a front and a back, so I guess it's 2 pages that basically explains the budget process and what happened. And I didn't know if this was satisfactory to all of you, or if you wanted something else. Or if there were anything else that you think that I did not highlight sufficiently, or something else I totally missed. But I also want to point out that the decision to utilize the fund balance I put in here was debated by members of the select board budget committee. But in the end, it was determined that it was in the best interest of the taxpayer in order to help lessen the burden of the increase to taxpayers. As there is a projected 7.92% increase from the school in their public, and their public budget hearing is next Tuesday, May 14th, and that is at 6 o'clock at the high school auditorium. And also a 9.5% increase from Lincoln County. So the fact that we're staying flat will be helpful to the residents as the school and the county have both increased.
Do we know what those numbers are?
I have the projected increases.
Percentages, but I'm just curious what the money was.
So it was about $800,000 from the county. And we do have, everybody should have received yesterday in the mail, a yellow flyer from the school.
Yeah.
Got it.
Or yesterday or today. That has all the numbers in it from the school.
That will be in the voter guide.
And
too.
that whole document will be in the voter guide, and I can tell you,
All for that, access to the county of 800,000.
so, hold on, I don't wanna misquote. Because I did ask today for Michelle. The budget saw an 8.99% increase. The commitment saw an increase of 9.5%. So when you look at our portion, our tax commitment for the year from the county is, I'm sorry, 883,619,000. And not that it went up, that's our actual commitment.
Oh, okay, so
I don't know what, I 21. I do not know the difference from last year. I can find that out, and would you like that included in the voter guide?
yes. What the
So the
increase to
actual-
cost, what the,
What the actual number is, not the
Increases.
percentage of.
well, both.
Okay.
The increase. Just-
From Lincoln County.
I don't have last year's to compare to this. Their total budget. Went up, their total. We'll put their final budget in there. We'll include that in the
Basically,
voter
it went
guide.
up about 83,000, 84,000. Is what they last year. So that's what they really went up. About 84,000. It sounds a little better.
Yeah.
With regard to the school budget, the very first page caught my eye yesterday when I read it, and it says the budget represents a 4.5% increase over the 2023-24 budget. But then it changes the account and talks about the assessments. It's really kind of shifting gears without pushing in the clutch, because our assessments are going up by a lot more than 4.5%. And that's being partly done because of, I guess, because of decreased state revenue. Or maybe it's level funding. I don't know the exact reading. But when you have a paragraph before calling for a 4.5% increase in the budget, but then the numbers come out much higher, that's misleading. I'd like some sort of statement to rectify that a comparison of assessments versus a comparison of the budgets.
We can request that.
But
It doesn't mean they have to provide that.
can we do it? I mean, can Pam? I'm not Pam, Peg Tynan do it?
So I don't want to represent,
Yes, understood. Understood.
I think that's left to the school. I just don't want us getting into interpreting what the school's numbers mean.
It just seems like the school is bragging that they're limiting their increase to 4.5%, but the assessment is going up. Our assessment is going up by almost 8%. Really kind of disingenuous for them to state it that way.
So last year, the county was 818,522. This year,
65.
Yeah.
65.
right? That's.
That's
Yeah, that's. But the percentages are based, you have to realize the
Right.
slice of their pie is much smaller. So,
cool. Does anybody else?
does anybody have any problems with including this document that you've seen on email and now tonight before you in the voter guide?
No.
I just sent you an email. You probably haven't seen it. There's just a couple suggestions in there.
Okay,
Take them or leave them. But I don't
Okay.
change the material import of what you.
okay, no problem.
Does anybody in the audience got a question about the budget? About the warrants? Beat them like a dead horse, so. We haven't been here to see it.
Some people,
I was just
I
saying.
had all 7 meetings to see this.
So you know.
And so was Bill.
So you guys know. Well, cool. I guess I'll take a motion to close the public. Is
So moved. I didn't choke on it.
there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. All right, we'll go back to the agenda.
No, we can approve it. Sorry,
You have to approve the one.
you have to approve the warrant.
Okay, would some, oh, yeah, you're right. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the warrant of June 11th, 2024?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Yes, sorry about that. Didn't have myself.
Okay.
Now, do we, I'll put this in as possible adjustments to the agenda and just
No, it's fine, as long as I know you guys are good with it.
Okay, so we don't vote on it.
No.
Okay. All right. All right, any adjustments to the agenda? Wow,
We do have one.
all right.
Add to the new business 10.2. We also have a committee application for the Origins Committee. Do we like to discuss?
Michael
Martunis.
Martunis.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor for that adjustment? Good. All right, citizens' comments. Is there any citizens' comments? Everybody all jump at once.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess we'll go to select board comments. Bob,
I have one.
Yeah.
Sorry,
only one?
just meeting the same topic here. This transfer station committee is gonna meet again, this Friday at 4:30. And this time, it's gonna be a little bit different twist. The employees at the transfer station are gonna join us to share some of their experiences with us. So not to discuss personal issues at all, but we will share some of their experiences with them and see how they perceive what we're doing from their side. And it'll be an interesting meeting. We're also going to review the ordinance, which we haven't done for quite some time. I think we've got some new folks on the committee who need to be brought up to speed on the ordinance.
I would also like just to point out that it was a very well-attended meeting last Friday.
Over 50 people were there, and thank you guys for coming.
Astounding,
Yeah.
astounding turnout.
Yeah, it was a good group of people.
So it's here this Friday
Yeah, we got them all in this room.
And I think.
Oh, our meeting will be here, yes.
at this Friday.
They give us some good points, bro.
They did.
You know, most of the people that were in the crowd were heavily recycling people, I guess you would call them. But a lot of people, there wasn't as many being represented as there should have been, I guess I would say. You
We
know,
had it
that
was more the ideas that we were interested in learning about, and I think we got a good representation from both sides.
Yep.
And everybody pitched in and helped. That was what it was all about.
Yep.
Thank you, though.
John?
Sunday, I attended the Historical Society's Waldeboro High School / AD grade program. Well attended. They did a good job, and thank you very much, Mr. President of the Historical Society, for putting that on. I also just want to read something that I don't see anything on the agenda for today, but I just want to follow up on, take a trip down memory lane. On Tuesday, September 12, 2023, the minutes of the Waldeboro Select Board meeting, special town meeting, Article 2, shall the town authorize the sale of the two-story frame home known as the Hostas House located at 467 Friendship Street, map U2, lot 2A, to the most advantageous bona fide offer to relocate or dismantle the structure, and on such other terms, the conditions of the select boards deemed to be best interest of the town. This is for the sale of the structure only. No land is included in this sale. That article passed 11-0. Again, this is a special town meeting we held. Article 3, shall the town, in the event the Hostas House is not sold, authorize the demolition of the Hostas House. Article 3 passed 11-0. Again, that was a special town meeting that was held last September. I keep watching the Sylvania Committee meetings. We keep talking about over and over and over about the Hostas House. We spinning our wheels. I mentioned in the last meeting that this board has levied fines on people in town for having dangerous buildings and hazardous buildings, but we own a building in town that's dangerous, and we need to make a decision on it quick. That's all I have.
Mike?
Okay.
Will? Town managers report.
I have a couple of things. Absentee ballots will be available for both the town meeting and for the state ballots. Tomorrow afternoon, we just have to give everybody a little bit of time to put them together because the state ballot just arrived today. Will be a lawn sale on Memorial Day weekend, that Saturday and Sunday. Applications to participate if you want to be on the digital map are available here at the town office and online. As I mentioned before, the school budget public hearing is Tuesday, the 14th at 6 o'clock at the high school auditorium. That is why we are meeting a week early so that people could attend both our public hearing and the school's public hearing. I also wanted to point out, I was not able to go, but Michael Amico hosted a Jane's Walk at the site of Sylvania Hofs's house. I could not go because I didn't think that an addition of a 4 and a 6-year-old crazily running around would be a good idea. But it was extremely well attended. Close to 60 people were also attended in 2 walks. And it was discussed that Michael will be holding more of those walks in the future. I also wanted to give a shout out to our amazing computer company. Our server went down over the weekend. We had to take a day to restore it. And I appreciate all the public who needed to register vehicles yesterday, who could not. I appreciate very much their patience and understanding. But the restore of our server was seamless. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Dan, not Dan, I'm so bad.
Hayden,
Hayden
Clinton.
and Quentin and Fred, they did an excellent job. And that's all I have.
Consent calendar. Somebody like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All right, new business, MMA legislative policy.
We have received a letter from Maine Municipal. And they're asking, so that they elect 70 dedicated municipal officials to serve on their legislative policy committee over the next 2-year period. A nomination form was enclosed. If there is somebody from Waldeboro, we are entitled to nominate a representative. The nominee can be either elected or appointed and must be serving currently as municipal official. And we can nominate any municipal official from any member town or city within our Senate district. But I just did not know if anybody from Waldeboro would be interested in serving in this. And Bob, I believe you've been involved in this.
I've been attending their meetings.
Would you want to be there in some official
If
capacity?
nobody else does, it's a great experience. I mean, you know how many bills you had to read this legislative session. The numbers were huge. The LPC focuses on bills that have an impact on municipalities, so it's not as onerous as what you have to deal with. But it's very interesting, and a lot of them, Julie, are town managers. So I would defer to you if you have an interest.
I do not have an interest.
Okay.
I have enough to do here.
Yeah.
But if you did it, it would be great because then I could tell you what is impressive, is pressing.
Perfect.
And it might give us a voice. I would tend to be a bull in a china shop up there, and I just don't think that you're probably much better at having patience than I am.
Well, thank you for the compliment. I would never have characterized myself that way, but thank you. Yeah, I've been able to attend those meetings as a member of the board, but I haven't been able to vote. Just not appointed.
I'm gonna make a motion to nominate Bob to go to the MMA Legislative Policy Committee. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
I'll abstain, but thank you.
Well, you might as well be a voting member.
Yes, he does attend all.
I mean, you go to the meetings, you might as well be a voting member.
Yeah.
That's the way I
fair
see
enough.
it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Cool, awesome. Let's take that. Great, Sylvania committee applications. John and Mike.
Yeah, well, one of the applications is, very well known to everybody here. It's, Barbara Boardman. She's sat on a number of committees. I've seen her in action at the planning board and, she was at the, Sylvania redevelopment committee meeting, this past Monday, last night, actually. She's well known, I think well qualified and well liked, and I think she'd make a wonderful addition.
Yes.
I'd add that she's done some things for the committee just as a non-member who's helped out. She's done some of the landscaping drawings that have gone to the engineer for their review. She's involved, so it's nice to have that help.
Somebody like to make a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All right. Any other applicants?
The other applicant is Michael Martunis. And John and I interviewed him about an hour ago. And local boy, lives on Genthro Road, and there are two. He works at Dragon Cement and had quite a wide-ranging discussion with him about what's going on over there. I thought that the plant was completely shut down, but apparently it's still doing some milling. They have some, after it comes out of the cement kiln, there's this material called clinker, which they grind up, and that makes the Portland cement. And they have like, what do you say, 20,000 tons of clinker, and they're still milling it down there. Very intelligent. His work is in the environmental compliance areas of that plant, so he's very well versed in air and water pollution and in fuels and a lot of different industrial processes. He also has a degree in archaeology, which fits in perfectly. Again, I thought he was a great candidate, and he would be a good addition to the Origins Committee.
So is that a motion?
I move that he be added to the Origins Committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, like I said, Mike said he done archaeology and anthropology. And he realized at an early age that wasn't a whole lot of making money that with his family, so that's why he went into the environmental thing. But he definitely has a lot of interest in the origins, and he's more focused. His training is more on prehistoric type stuff, like dinosaur fossils and stuff. But arrowheads, but he's certainly excited about getting involved in this. So the committee's got what, 5, 6 people now on it. 5 now, so.
It's building.
Yep.
Building. Cool.
Time to go to work.
That bathroom meeting I had where I elected you don't count yet.
So that's all I have for discussion.
Okay. All those in favor? All right, old business. Let's see, agenda, we discuss items for the next meeting. Should be on the 28th.
Yes, so just one thing we might have, and I don't know, is by the end of this week, the engineer that we engaged for the at least for the courts portion of the Sylvania property may have a plan for us. So that if it's here and ready to go, that could be something that you might be seeing for the first time, which is kind of exciting.
Cool.
And did you want to have a update from one of our committees? We had EDC recently. I didn't know if you wanted a committee update. Or if you wanted to maybe schedule a joint budget committee and select board meeting together to discuss the fire department and the meet with their truck committee. the next 20.
What's the board's pleasure?
I'd rather not on that one.
After
Or is that just?
after
Gotta
the
get mine.
elections and stuff, work on that
I think we gotta have a discussion with the. What's that? Yeah.
after the elections.
What about the solar purchase? Is that done?
I spoke with the attorney about that on, I believe it was last Thursday. He's running through the checklist with, I believe, their attorney, because we're not gonna take it till we have certain
Right.
review of, what's there and some schematics and, we had asked for, and I forget
Maintenance
the
schedule.
maintenance schedule. And also we're waiting for him to give us an actual cost for maintenance.
He was also gonna,
The
give us a-
annual.
he was also gonna give us a schedule anticipating inverter replacements, because they go every 10 to 12 years.
And I don't know if Ruben's still there or not. He was working on that, I believe. Because I think he said that it all varied on the age of the inverter.
Yeah.
It's like $100 for the part. And the reason why he said that.
Not the inverter, but those were the
Oh,
module.
those are the little, I forget the name.
Optimize.
Optimize.
Thank you,
Right.
optimizers.
Right, I think they were like $100 a piece.
Yeah.
The reason why he called the company was to find out how many we would potentially need just in case if one goes down, we don't have to wait for one to show up.
So we are,
Even if it is warranted, we'd have to wait.
we are waiting for,
Good.
we are waiting for that information.
Mhm.
So we have not completed anything until we have all of that
Do
information.
we have to do anything now, or is that, did we authorize you to?
You authorized, me to do it, but I'll bring it back to you before I sign it, but the attorney, our attorney that we use, this is actually something he's done for many other towns. So, he's just making sure that all the i's are dotted and all the t's are crossed. And, he actually added a couple other things that, we should make sure before we close. So, he is working on it.
Awesome. I guess that's it. Somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor? So we have that.
Oh, wait, somebody there. Oh, no. We had a chat. We just saw it. I haven't done
Anything.
anything. Okay.
Oh, Ruben.
It's Ruben.
Ruben, okay. All right, don't leave just.
Don't leave. You have things